Hi, I'm Em. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to this video that I have done zero prep for, have put very little thought into outside of, hey, that looks like fun, I want to do it too. Let's see how this goes. This is the reader I can do it. The reader taste tag. I will link the creators down below. Literary Mad Max has done this video recently, and I think I also saw covers with Cassidy do this, and it looks like a good time, and I really needed something to put up today. So here we are. Let's just dive into the questions. Question number one is, how do you rate books? That's a great question. I do star ratings, and I have been tweaking what each star actually means for me, because I feel like sometimes I rate books and it's not actually a representation of how I felt. But 5 stars is I was absolutely obsessed while I was reading it. You couldn't tear me away from the page. I thought about it every second I put it down, and this is going to be my new personality for the next 7 to 30 business days, maybe longer, depending on how it goes. 4 stars is I had a really great time, and maybe I even loved this book, but there was probably at least one moment where I got bored, or there was a lull, or maybe there was like a aspect that I didn't totally jive with, but I still had a really great, positive, fantastic reading experience, but it just didn't have that 5-star energy, you know? 3 star is it was fine, meh. I probably got bored at one point, or, I can recognize that it was a good book, but the themes or the tropes or whatever just aren't my particular cup of tea. 2 star is I really didn't like it at all. And 1 star is I wish I had DNF'd. And honestly, I very rarely have a 1 star because I am getting better at DNFing. And so my 1 stars, I usually will DNF them. So my personal scale slides between a 2 and a 5, and more likely a 2.5. I have to really dislike it to give it a 2, or it has to do something really problematic or just make me mad. How do you approach reviewing books? In case you couldn't tell, I am very much a mood, vibes-based reviewer. I am very feelings oriented. I am a Cancer after all, and so I rate books off of how they make me feel, which is also kind of goes in with I am very much an endings reader. So if a book has a great ending and I feel good about it, I am probably going to give it a little bit of a higher rating than if it's an ending that I don't like. But I am not a very analytical reader. I'm just here for the vibes and to have a good time, maybe to learn something. I can be picky, but I feel like that's not the same thing as being analytical, but I don't know. You can tell me your thoughts on that, but I am definitely a emotions-based reader. I will tell you about a book and review a book based on how I felt while I was reviewing the book. Maybe I can acknowledge structure things. I know I've read books in the past where there are structure elements that I feel like get in the way of the story being told, but I feel like that's more a bonus to my review style than a rule of my review style. What's the book that made you a reader? I have talked about this on Bookstagram so many times, but I don't think I've really talked about it on BookTube before. So the book that made me a reader is Dealing with Dragons by Patricia C. Reedy. I got this from my mom when I was 8. Prior to that, my mom would read to me before bed, basically every single night. And I have really great memories of that experience. But this was the first book where after she would finish reading and she would say goodnight and she would leave the room, I would pick up the book and I would read ahead because I had to know what was going to happen next. And this is an absolutely beloved book, the whole series, this author in general. I have so many warm, gooey, fuzzy feelings towards, because these books are just my childhood. The next question is, do you have a genre niche? I would say yes, but also no. I think I read fairly widely. I read pretty much every genre. There are maybe 1 or 2 It might just be one now. I think there's just one genre that I don't read, and that's thrillers, but I read fantasy, science fiction, mysteries, horror, which if you'd asked me 3 years ago, I would have said I don't read horror or thrillers, but that has since changed because I read horror now. I read middle grade, I read young adults, which isn't a genre, that's an age category, but I will read graphic novels, I'll read manga. If it is on a page or an audiobook, I will read it. I definitely feel like I read fantasy the most. That's definitely my go-to genre, but I am always open to trying new things. And I really like reading broadly and diversely. Do you generally prefer character-driven or plot-driven stories? I would say both. I need a character-driven story, but I want something to happen in that character-driven story. So I want a plot. I want things to happen. I want there to be a journey or, forward momentum of things happening. But in that journey or that forward momentum, I need to care about the characters. I need to be invested in what is happening to them, because if I don't care about the characters, I'm not going to care about the plot. So I kind of need both, but depending on though, if the book has really great characters and I am into those characters, I can kind of let the plot go and just read around about those people. So I think both. So I think the short answer is both, but if I'm forced to pick one, probably character driven. What's a book you love so much that you don't care if others don't like it? So one book that I love enough for everyone. Oh, this is where prep probably would have come in handy. Okay, I think I have two. One is The Scapegracers by H.A. Clarke. This is a YA feral, contemporary witchy book. And I love the writing style and I love the characters. It's kind of over the top, but it feels like you're reading a CW teen drama, which is catnip for me. So that is like the highest compliment I can give a book, is saying it gave me that vibe. And I just think there are very few people who write the way Clarke does. And I'm just so into their career and following what they do next. And then obviously Letters to Half Moon Street, but I feel like I've talked about that enough, so we're not going to talk about that in this one, but just you all know that one's there. And then Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick, which I think doesn't get nearly as much love as it deserves, but this is a high fantasy. It's a Venetian-inspired world. The magic is tarot-based, which I think is super cool. There's like a Batman, Catwoman, vigilante kind of relationship thing going on in this series, and I think it's really fun. It is long, and it probably doesn't need to be this long, but this is one of those exceptions to my hot take about book length. And I would have read this book if it was 400 more pages and still utterly loved it. And this whole trilogy, I think people sleep on it, and it's so, so good. It is almost a perfect Emily book. All right, this next question is, what's in your trash pocket? What books, tropes, or themes that you know are bad, but you love them anyway? I don't think there's such a thing as a bad trope. I think there are authors who maybe don't write tropes well, but I don't think there's a bad trope. It's kind of how I also don't subscribe to the guilty pleasure thing. Like, if the thing you like isn't hurting anybody and it's not infringing on anyone's rights, then I don't think you should feel guilty for liking it. Like, just like the things that you like. And I kind of feel this way too. I don't think there's bad tropes unless they're perpetuating harmful stereotypes or infringing on people's human rights. Like, if it's not hurting anybody, then I don't think it's bad, and I don't think you should feel guilty for liking it. Now, on the opposite side of that, do you have any deal breakers in books? Something that, if present, immediately turns you off from a book. Yeah, I got two. SA as a plot point. I really tried to not read books where their inciting incident or the main plot point is SA. It's why I will never read Beartown. And there's just lots, I won't ever touch Outlander again. And it's just not something that I want to read about. And then the other one is pregnancy, childbirth, motherhood. It's not a full deal breaker, but I am not going to go out of my way to read that book. I will probably only pick it up if somebody I really trust tells me that is worth my time and that that particular theme is handled well. I am a mother. I have 3 kids, and I did not have a good time when I was pregnant. And so I don't like reading about it in books. I don't like seeing childbirth depicted. I don't like seeing, with a few exceptions, I don't like seeing motherhood depicted. I feel like it's not accurately portrayed a lot of times in books, and then I get cranky about it, and I just need to be nicer to myself than to put myself in that situation. What's a strong opinion you have about a book released within the last year? I don't know if I have any strong opinions about any books in the last year. I have strong opinions about books that came out a couple of years ago, but I feel like last year and this year, while have had a few wins, a lot of things that I've read have been kind of like, meh. Which is really sad because I love to rave about a book. A book from a few years ago, my hot take is that I think Project Hail Mary is unimaginative and lazy writing. So that's probably the one I've got. If that made you mad, I'm so sorry. I'm glad other people love it, but it was very much not a book for me. What do you look for in writing? What makes a book stand out to you? Is it prose, style, themes, voice, structure, or something else? It's very much voice, especially in fiction. I want a really distinctive voice in a book. It's also themes. I really like feminist themes. I like queer joy in books. I like joy in general, and I do love a revolution. I am a basic fantasy bitch, and I love a revolution in a fantasy book or a tear the system down type of book. It is true. Next question is, how do you decide what to read next? Okay, so glad you asked. Prior to this moment, and for most of my reading online era, I have been a very organized reader. I love a schedule. I love a list. I love a TBR. I love to check things off a list as I accomplish them. However, for the last month, I have been in a reading slump, and the outcome of this reading slump is that now I cannot tell myself to do anything. I basically just flip myself off every time I make a reading list, and I am having to mood read. So it's just what I feel like starting in that moment, what I feel like reading in that moment. Doesn't matter how many books I'm in the middle of, doesn't matter what projects I have planned for YouTube. I just can only read what I want to read in the moment that I want to read it, and any TBR is just not going to happen, which is so sad. But I am trying to just go with the flow, which as a type A person is not my strong suit, but I'm working on it, okay? I'm working on it. I'm trying to grow as a person. Where do you get inspiration for your booktube content? Oh, I'm so excited for this question. I follow, I think, some very creative people on BookTube. I think Jan Agaton is probably my biggest inspiration. I think she's so creative and imaginative with the projects, and you can tell she works in marketing because I think she's really good at coming up with cute names for her different series, and I just love like the vibe and the aesthetic for her channel in general. It's very different from my vibe and aesthetic, but I just think she's so creative, and I admire that so much. I also really like Riley Marie. I think she's the closest thing I have to like a book twin on YouTube, but I really like her videos and her content as well. And I just started watching Reagan's videos. I forget what her channel is called, but the way she reviews books, and I know that's not content, but it's also her content. Her content is so purposeful yet casual, and the way she reviews books without giving away spoilers, but she still gives you so much detail and nuance to what she's reading, and I find that really admirable. I'm trying to improve my reviewing without spoiling anything, and Reagan is I get a lot of inspiration from Reagan on what to talk about in a book outside of what could be considered a spoiler. And then of course Becca and the books. Like, Becca's amazing. I will drop everything that I'm doing at a moment's notice if Becca has a new video up. her content is so engaging, so entertaining, and I think she's great. Did I forget anybody? That's the real question. Oh, okay, I have two more. I also really love Allie. I think she is also really fun, high energy. I love her. I love her energy. I love her enthusiasm, and I think her videos are so fun. And then the last one is somebody I just started following, but it's a model who's red. I think her name is Rachel, but her queer book recommendations are so good. She's another one. She's really high energy, very entertaining, and she's one where I need to start reading more of her recommendations because I think she could also probably be a booktube twin because I think she has a similar like interest and aesthetic in books that I have. And so she's definitely somebody I need to like test out some of her favorites, but I'm really enjoying her content. But I just started following her maybe like a month and a half ago. If you could make any book go viral right now, what would it be? Book I think deserves more attention. Okay, well, I already mentioned A Mask of Mirrors, obviously. I think Godkiller by Hannah Kaner also needs a little bit more love. I think that trilogy is really good. I still need to finish it, but I think it does not get nearly the love that it deserves, especially if you like a heroine who has isolated herself and needs to learn how to trust people again, which I love that. I love that trope or dynamic or character archetype, whatever you want to call it. It's catnip for me. It's absolutely my favorite. So I think if you also kind of like that vibe in a fantasy book and you like a road trip, it's so good. It's so underrated. But I think that's it. I don't know. I get really nervous about people loving books that I love because I'm getting better about it. But sometimes when books that I like get super popular, obviously there are going to be people who don't like that book, and then I get my feelings hurt, and then I'm sad, and so I just like to stay in my little goblin hole reading my books and not sharing them with other people. Okay, last question is, who are some booktubers with reading tastes similar to yours? All right, I already mentioned Riley Marie. She's probably the one with the most similar taste to me. A lot of the other booktubers I follow because of their personality, not because our reading tastes align. I would like to, like I said, try out more of Rachel's books because I think maybe she might be pretty similar. And I think Allie might have similar tastes, but I have to read more of what she's also read, like her highest rated books, to see if we align. And I also think Literary Mad Max, Madison and I read similarly. Like, we read the same books. I don't know that we always have the same opinion on those books, but you know, I think when it matters, and when it matters, we do. When it counts, we have similar opinions. And I think that's it. And also, that is the last question. So this is the end of this video. I've been talking for a long time. I'm really hoping I can edit this video a little bit shorter because this was supposed to be an easy breezy little time, and now it's been like 25 minutes of my life. So anyways, I would love to hear your thoughts down below. If you want to answer any of these questions, like tell me all the things. I always love to get comments and hear about what you think. And if you just want to leave an emoji to let me know you were here, let's do something that doesn't make any sense because that's always fun. Leave me your favorite fruit emoji down below, and otherwise, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will talk to you all in the next one. Bye!